Hello everyone, welcome back to another interview. My name's Jake Horton and today I have the pleasure of speaking to Charlotte, a teenager who, like the majority of young people in this world, have and rely on a mobile phone for day-to-day life. I think it's going to be very intriguing talking about this topic today, as following research conducted by the United Nations Digital Analysts have estimated that there is a whopping 11 billion mobile phone connections around the world today, more than the world population of 8 billion. So I've managed to have the pleasure of asking Charlotte some questions about mobile phones, her thoughts, feelings, her own experiences, and pros and cons of mobile phones. So I hope you'll enjoy, guys. So Charlotte, I wanted to, one of my first questions I wanted to ask you about mobile phones in general is, what was your life like in terms of like before you owned your first one? Do you know what I mean? How was your life different from what compared to when you didn't have one, compared to when you have one in present day now?
Oh wow, okay. God, that was quite a while ago. I guess that before I had a mobile phone, I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you. Well, I did have a tablet growing up, so I guess that was quite similar. Obviously, it's not able to take out and about with you, but it was definitely quite similar. And then, to be honest, I can't really remember it. It just seems like that long ago, and everything's changed so much since that I just become so reliant on it. I just can't remember how I used to be honest.
Safe to say that the world has changed a lot. The effect that phones have had on the world, it's insane, isn't it? I understand where you're coming from, where like it's hard to remember a time where you didn't have a phone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was gonna say as well, like, do you remember like briefly, like roughly when did you get your first phone and why did you get it?
Yeah, I guess I got my first phone. I think it was when I started like going out and more like independently. I think it was about year 6, 11. It was just really going back and to from school, just so I'd be safe, to be honest. But I didn't really use it as much then as I do now, because I didn't really see the point when I was younger, because obviously it's this brand new thing and I just didn't have a clue what to do with it. But I guess now that I've got one, I definitely see what can be done with one.
You need your phone, but it's like looking back on it, you've got to ask yourself the important question: do I really need my phone to do this daily task, or do I not need it? It's like You've got to weigh it up, haven't you?
Definitely, yeah.
In general as well, how many phones in total do you reckon you have had? Total, maybe?
I'd say I've had about maybe 3. This is my 3rd phone now, so I had one of the earlier models. I think it was the iPhone like 5, so it's a tiny screen compared to what it is now. And that was the first one, and then I think I went on to like an X, and then now I've got 14. So it's not that many. I get new ones just so they're up to date and they don't break on me, but other than that, I'd just say that there's not that many.
What about the current phone you've got now? Is it advanced, or is it a smartphone, or?
I'd say it is an Apple one, so probably more of the newer ones, so it definitely can do a lot more. But the only reason I got this one is because my last one did break with screen problems. But it's purple. I quite like the colour purple. I think they do nice colours in the Apple ones actually. But I think that they're suitable for what you need them for.
Why did you choose the phone you've got now? I know it's like not the easiest question to ask, but it's like, is there an actual reason you wanted that phone?
I wouldn't say it's because I wanted the phone. I'd say within my budget, it was probably the cheapest one at the time, and I actually bought it second-hand as well, so it was used and it was still in good condition, and I think I got a better price for it, which is something that I think should be done a lot more, because phones don't have to be new, and this can still be good, even if they're just refurbished.
Roughly, how much time do you reckon you spend on your phone weekly? Daily might be more easy to answer, but I think the question that I'm more intrigued to get is in total, in terms of hours or minutes even, how long do you spend on your phone in the week?
Yeah, it varies, just depends what I'm doing that day. Hourly, maybe about an average day would be about 7 hours, but definitely over the week it probably can get to about over 35, which is quite bad.
Wow.
But yeah, it's quite a lot, probably sometimes over 40, and you don't even think when you're on it, like, how much you're actually using it.
A lot of people, especially typically people from older generations, would shake their heads at that, and they'd be like, well, why do you need to spend your time on that phone? But as a generation, I believe that we have got valid reasons as to why we spend so much time on our phones. Like, obviously you might not be able to justify every hour that you spend on it, but there might actually be like logical reasons as to why you spend that much time on your phone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there definitely is. And the older generation, just I get why because obviously they didn't have them growing up, but I can see why they do think that way.
Yeah.
Especially with our generation.
Could you get through the day without your phone? you reckon?
Probably not. I probably could if I really, really wanted to, but at the minute I don't see a reason to, just because it's practical for, going to college and doing my work and texting friends. So at the minute, probably not.
Yeah, so nothing at all. There's no way you could get through the day, no?
If I really wanted to, I could maybe try, but I don't think I could now.
Yeah, fair enough. Could you live your life without your phone?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Well, it's fair. The first question answered that anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, it's impossible to. I just can't see, especially now that we've had it, and if it was just taken away, I don't think we could do that, to be honest.
Yeah. What would you do if you needed your phone but didn't have it on you, or just didn't have one? Like, how could you put your problem-solving skills into practice in order to do that problem without your phone? Like, fix that problem.
Do you mean I could use other people's mobiles, or it's just me personally?
Well, anything really. It could be just be you personally. Like, could you think of a way to do something, that task, without your phone, or would you indefinitely need your phone to do it?
In terms of communication, I'd say I definitely need it, because there's just no other way to communicate these days. In terms of obviously you can pay for things on your phone, I think I'd probably just bring my card out, if I'm being honest, instead of having to use it. But yeah, it's definitely practical to have.
Do you believe a person needs a phone in their life in order to get through life? Would you not agree with that statement?
To say it depends what generation you're from. If you're from obviously our generation, I'd say yeah, because obviously we know what it's like to have one. And for it to be taken away like that, I don't think we could. But I'd say the older generation, well, some of them still don't have them now, and probably never will. So I think that they would be fine. But it just obviously depends what age you are.
What do you think the pros and cons of mobile phones are?
So the pros are definitely be able to just communicate with anyone. Obviously they're practical, you can pay on them, you can order things online, they're just very practical to have. And if it's something you can just fit in your pocket and take with you really. In terms of the cons, I'd just say more in terms of the social media side of it, or the fact that our screen time is so high that maybe that could be a problem.
I think society's too reliant on phones these days. What do you think about that?
Some people are, they would depend on it as their only way to communicate with people, but they are useful to have in general. So I'd say some people are, but then you can obviously just need them for communication reasons, or if you just really needed to contact someone while you're out and about, it's just practical.
If I was to ask you how addicted you are to your phone, what would you say to me? How honest would you be?
Quite addicted, yeah, I would say so.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you're so addicted to it?
Well, I wouldn't say I'd like to say it's because they're new, but they're not new because they have been around for quite a few years. I'd just say it's just, what can you not do on them? It's just really it's honestly mental, the things you can now do on a phone. That they've got a screen and things you can, old phones, they only had touchpads, and yeah, it's just come a long way.
Do you think there's a bright future ahead for phones, or do you think it's a negative future?
I think there's a bright future just in terms of where science and technology can go, and who knows, they might not even be around and might be replaced by something else in a few years. It all depends on science and technology.
Yeah, so are you one of them people that believes that it all depends on how they deal with the situation with phones? Do you think it's all about how they decide how advanced they get?
Yeah. There's no limit to it really, is there?
Yeah, and the last question I wanted to ask you today, which I would say it's a hard one to answer, what I wanted to ask was, do you think as a society we've become lazy? Do you think we've become, like I said, it comes back to one of the other questions I asked, do you think we're too dependent, do you think we're too lazy due to phones now?
I wouldn't say lazy, but I'd say we've found easier ways to do things. Some people may call that lazy, but I'd say it's just easier way to do things. Honestly, admit at the minute I don't carry my card on me, and I'm always reliant on my phone, so if that didn't work, I would honestly be absolutely nowhere and I'd be very stuck. But I'd just say it's more practical to fit in with modern society than it is lazy.
Really, yeah?
Yeah.
It's just, you've got to understand, I think what you've got to ask yourself as well is am I doing anything wrong for carrying my phone with me and not using typical things like you said with your card? You've got to ask though, isn't it, as well, what I think personally is that if you don't have your card with you, what do you do? If your phone isn't working, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for them questions.
Yeah,
really,
thank you
very
much.
good answers.
Yeah.